Hey y'all, welcome to the OVC Town Hall. When you come in, please tap the screen immediately. Immediately. We're waiting for our moderator. I see the candidate is in the room. I appreciate you. We appreciate you being here. Here's our moderator, ButterMel. Hello.
Moderator is here too.
Yes, I was warming up the crowd for you. They're all
You know
warmed
what?
up.
I love a good opening act.
Always here for you, ButterMel. Always here for you. You guys send your daily heart me for the account. Also, if you could just spam your followers with the news of this town hall. We got a candidate from Georgia. She's running for the House District. What is that? 168. Wow. That's a high number.
I always know if I ever get confused on whether or not they are running for U.S. or state, if it's a high number in a little bitty state, I say, oh, they running for the state.
That's the state. Yep, you're right. You see, ButterMel, you're so smart.
I be trying.
So smart. Okay, well, I'm going to go down. You have a good night.
Everyone give Mariana a hand. She was the best opening.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys at what time? 8 o'clock?
At 8 o'clock.
Moderating at 8. All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. Y'all make sure y'all come on in, tap that screen, share this out. Let me share this out. I'll be bringing up our candidate in just a moment. I want to make sure I share this out first. I always find it so rude to do it while the candidate is up here. Okay, add to, and hold down the host box, and let me send this out. I hope you all are having a good day. It can't decide what kind of weather it wants to be here in DC. It's just a hot mess, I swear. This weather right now, but you know, that's the spring. What they said, how does it go? In like a lamb, out like a lion, or in like a lion, out like a lamb, something. One of them. One of those it is. All right, so sending this on out to some folks I may know in Georgia. Georgia. The whole day through. Okay, I think I got it out. And done. Okay, share that out. Boom. In like a lion, out like a lamb. Thank you very much. Let's see. Miss Sabrina, there you are. Sent you an invite. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to OVC.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
I'm
you're so
welcome. This TikTok live, so please, I don't know how to show my face or any of that.
Okay, so you're just gonna hit the little like camera button, little icon at the bottom there, and when the thing comes up, hit save. There you go. Look. There you are with your beautiful face. I'm trying to bring your information up, so I got some questions to ask you. All right, Miss Sabrina, here we go. Well, how are you today? How's the weather in Georgia? Because like I said, it can't make up its mind here in the DC area. Okay, you on mute. Hit.
Okay, there I am. I'm figuring it out, girl. I'm figuring it out.
No, what'd you say the weather's like?
You're not alone. Yesterday it was warm enough for shorts, and today it is cold and cloudy and dusky out. So yeah, we had the air AC on yesterday, and today we have on the heater. Welcome to Georgia.
Exactly. No, it was we yesterday was Monday. So Sunday it was warm enough for shorts here, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think people still thought that that was what Monday was going to bring because
Yeah,
it said the high was 73, right?
right.
But that 73 was at like 2 o'clock in the morning. It was not going to be later in the day. So technically it was still a high of 73 for that day. And so it fooled some people. So I seen them out there in these little itty bitty shorts going like this when that cold weather came.
That was me. That was me yesterday. The itty bitty shorts. I was out there, and I was enjoying the weather. And today I went outside to look in my car for something, and I was like, "Burr, where did this come from?"
Sunday, my friend said, "Oh, you could put your coat up. It should be good." I said, "Oh no, no, no! It tricked me last time. We had a nice day, and then we had a baby blizzard. Okay, no, I wasn't gonna get tricked again."
I understand that. I understand that.
All right. Well, Miss Sabrina, let me tell you. I'm so rude. I didn't introduce myself. I am Melanie, Mel, ButterMel, whatever you like to call yourself. Call me. It's
Okay.
fine. Um,
But
and I am part of OVC, which is Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters, promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in these upcoming elections. Through voter education, candidate outreach, and community engagement, we support leaders who are ready to serve the people, not special interests. By working across state lines, elevating local and national issues, we aim to increase voter turnout, inform public dialogue, and build momentum for lasting change. Our vote count is more than just a name, it's a promise, it's a movement and a rallying cry for democracy. And together we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. So again, thank you. Thank everyone else for joining us. Make sure you're tapping the live. That keeps us in the algorithm. Get more people in here to listen to Miss Sabrina today. And share it out to all your friends and family so we can have a good conversation happening. If you have any questions for Miss Sabrina, please request up or put them in the chat and I will pose those questions to her. Let me tell y'all what I found out about Miss Sabrina. So she is a Louisiana native who grew up in a rural community, but has lived in Hinesville, Georgia since 2001. So she's an implant now. She has worked in the Department of Defense as a civil servant. Founded a small business called Bougie Natural. Get you some of that product, Bougie Natural, and established a coastal Georgia minority chamber of commerce. She'll have to tell us a little bit about that later. She holds an advanced degree from Liberty University, has completed executive training at Harvard Kennedy School, and is currently pursuing her doctorate degree in leadership and policy. She is a member of the sorority I wanted to be a part of, Zeta Phi Beta, a wife to a Hinesville councilman, and a mother to U.S. service members, and a grandmother to 7. I
yeah.
saw that little one. He's a I said, I know that's right. He said, that's disgusting. I love it. I was doing my research. Miss Sabrina centers her work on expanding opportunity and strengthening communities across her district. She is currently running against Al Williams, who is a Democrat, but has held that seat since 2003. Y'all know we ready for the change. Get the old out, in with the new.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. You primarily Liberty County. Small portions of nearby. Okay, I didn't read that before I said, but Liberty County is basically what your district is, which is District 168. in Georgia, which is where exactly? Is that Atlanta on the coast or?
So we are coastal Georgia. We are literally about, depending on traffic, 35 to 45 minutes away from Savannah.
Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Your district is about 44% black, 40% white, 10% Hispanic. We got about 2% Asians, and then we around about 5% everybody else.
Yeah,
So that's
that's
a
about
pretty
right.
good mix. That's a good mix
Right.
of people there. So you have all kinds of people to represent.
Yes, yes, yes.
So the Georgia medium household income is about 77,000. But your district runs a little under that at about 60,000. So yeah, we gotta figure out how to get that up, right?
Right.
Um, all right. So tell us a little bit more about why you decided to run. Like, I've been seeing, you've been all in the politics for a minute now. What made
Yes.
this the time to go and put your foot in the race?
Well, I've been asked to run for a seat for many years, and I just didn't feel like it was time. I always say to people, "I'll know because my spirit will know," and I don't like to chase a seat, or just jump into something to say that I want it. I have to actually want it, and I have to be purposed for it. So after COVID, when I was working with the Coastal Georgia Minority Chamber, and I saw how depleted business owners were and how depleted our business owners were specifically. I just, I knew I had to do something. So I started to do my research. And once I started to do my research, I researched that the current incumbent had not written a policy to economically impact or purpose anything great for Liberty County in the last 10 years. The only thing that was written was a ceremonial legislation, and that was to recognize a pastor and or their pastor. So that's when I knew it was time, especially with property taxes going up. We've had industries closing, a job loss, and the median income actually is much lower than that. But they're putting together what people are earning from Fort Stewart. But if Fort Stewart were to leave where we are today or tomorrow, we would be in dire straits. So yeah, I decided it was time to do something different. We needed something different because we're facing different times.
Okay, that's excellent. Now we like to do a little icebreaker here, and my icebreaker question is, what's the best product to buy from Bougie Natural?
Okay, I would say it is our hair serum, which is a night serum, and you put it on, and it makes your scalp come alive.
Oh, we got a lot of hair folks up in our vote count, so they're listening. Y'all get the hair serum. She said it brings you. They always looking for the
Yes.
products. I promise you, we're having conversations like we supposed to be talking about business here. They talking about the best conditioner to put in, and so yes, her hair serum. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So the way this works is we got 5 topics.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go through about 2 or 3 questions each topic, depending on how you answer them. In between those 5 topics, we do what's called rapid fire, and those are quick answer questions. First set is going to be political. The second set is a little fun, some Georgia trivia within there, and then we're going to close it out with some closing questions and hopefully get you some donations. Okay. All right. So our first topic is the economy and tax relief. Okay. So your plan calls for eliminating school property taxes for seniors. How would you make up that funding so schools don't lose resources?
Well, one of the things that I am focusing on is agriculture and bringing medicinal cannabis to our county. Right to our next door neighbors, which is Pooler, Georgia, they have cannabis dispensaries there, and they're doing wonderfully. We, on the other hand, don't have that. So if we were to implement something of that accord, we could do away with those property taxes for seniors and make up that money from tourism, from, folks coming in and we can tax the cannabis dispensaries. There are other ways to make those funds up. So that's what my focus is at the moment.
And why the seniors? Why did you choose to give tax relief to them?
Okay, so it's not a tax relief as a general statement, it's a school tax. So what these seniors are paying for is for from elementary to 12th grade school tax. They have no children in school. They're not in school. So the question is, why are they paying these taxes? And what is this money going to? Well, we don't get answers. So I believe that after a certain age and your children are no longer in the school system, I mean, you should graduate with them away from that responsibility. So that's the focus of that tax relief.
Right, got you. Now, the girl with the animals said, would you get that implemented before advocating for reducing the property taxes on seniors? Get what implemented exactly?
I don't know. What'd she say?
Taxing the dispensary is a great idea. That girl just give me okay, why start with seniors? What about childless folks? Oh, okay. In regards to dispensary. Okay, so she was saying, are you going to get the dispensaries implemented before you cut the taxes, the school taxes for the seniors?
So on day one, that's my main focus for Liberty County. So there's a thing called a local legislation that I can implement this legislative action just for Liberty County to approve businesses to start these dispensaries. Once that's done, then we can instantly go into phase 2, which would be relieving our seniors of those responsibilities. Now, in regards to young people, the thing is, you never know when young people may want to have children. Sometimes it just kind of happens. So with that being said, that is something that we have to look at very carefully. But we cannot, I'm just going to be straightforward and honest, because that's a question that's come up right about now in Georgia. It's eliminating the property tax as a whole, or any taxes as a whole. We cannot do that, because that's how our infrastructure is maintained. That's how our education system is maintained. I mean, that's how our public health and safety is maintained. So we have to really be careful. I would not dare put us in a position of being unsafe, or put our children in a position where they're uncared for education wise, just by, as I say, taking care of the needs of the few over the many.
Absolutely. I guess that was actually my next question was, a lot of families are struggling with rising property tax right now. What immediate relief can people expect if you're elected? And so, as you just said, you can't, knock them completely out, but can we lower them? Is there?
Yes, you can. So one of the things I have proposed is that we lower the property tax down to 2%. If we lower the taxes down to 2%, then that gives everyone a break until, whatever happens in Georgia, because right now there's a lot of tomfoolery going on with legislation and with these taxes, right? Everybody's making it sound good, but at the end of the day, there's always some sort of repercussion. And with that, people tend to want to believe and trust in what their leaders are saying. However, they have to understand that some of these leaders are just out and out for selfish gain. They've made a deal with the people who are writing this legislation, and they're pushing it to our folks, and the folks buy into them because they trust them. So we have to be very careful with what we're doing with taxes right now and how the legislation is written.
Absolutely. Okay, so we done talked about the income taxes, and your proposal is to legalize the cannabis dispensaries in your area. Do you have any other income producing opportunities that you think would help your district?
Yes, we actually need an industry. Right now, what we have here in Liberty County is what I call the big R's. It's restaurants, religion, and real estate. So basically, with that, where's the opportunity? How can I feed my family? And then if I can't feed my family, then I can't go to a restaurant. So that restaurant suffers. If I can't feed my family, I can't purchase a home. So real estate suffers. So we have to look at bringing real jobs, not just jobs, because they'll say, oh, we brought all these restaurants here and all of this and all of that. But where is the long-term businesses that can give me a real income to feed my family in more than $15 an hour? One of the things I talk about often is by 2030, it is projected that housing is going to cost in our area over $500,000. So if you're not making $29 an hour, you will not be able to afford a home.
Nope.
So my thing is this. If we're going to be looking at that big amount for a house, then we need to start looking at that big amount to pay these folks so they can afford these homes and feed their families.
Absolutely. Okay, so my next topic, again, I remind everyone, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or request up to ask yourself. We love the audience engagement, so please feel encouraged to ask questions. Our next topic we are going to go into is education. So that's like right after we get the income working, we got to get the education working, right? So
Right.
teacher pay is a major issue across Georgia. What does competitive pay look like to you, and how would you make it a reality?
So one of the things is I have lots of school friends that are school teachers, but the interesting part is here in Liberty County, those teachers who have a doctorate degree are making $65,000 a year, while our next door neighbor, which is far smaller than Liberty County, is making $95,000 a year. We have to write legislation to balance out this pay. Otherwise, we are not able to keep good teachers. They're going to neighboring counties because they're paying more. We also have to introduce industry to our children, like agricultural industry. That will bring in grants. That would bring in more income to schools. But most importantly, and I think it's the most critical part of it, we need transparency and accountability. The school is not one that's hurting, it's not hurting financially. So my question is, if we're getting millions of dollars in, where are those millions of dollars going? We need accountability, we need transparency, and we need to be sure that we are instilling into our teachers what we want to instill into our children, and that's excellence. And the way we start with that is by paying them what they're due.
Yes. And so what you said we want to get at least to the 95 that the neighbors are making, right?
Yes.
And so that is determined by the budget at the state.
Yes, that is determined by the budget. But again, our school gets lots of money. It gets lots of money. The question is, how is that money being spent? What is it being spent on? We cannot retain good teachers here. They're going to our neighboring rural county because it's giving them more money.
Wow.
So they're saying, okay, why? Why is that? Liberty County is much bigger. We have the big 3 R's. Why is this happening? And it is because there is a question pending that's on the table. Where is the dollar going? So if we can balance out the budget so that our teachers are earning what they're due, we can impact education in a way that is going to broaden the heights for our children.
Absolutely. Not only are they getting paid a little bit more, but it's probably more cost efficient to live in the more rural areas. So they're getting, more for their bang for their buck by going out there. So we got to kind of figure out how to even that out too, right?
Right.
Now you've emphasized safe learning environments. What changes or policies would you prioritize to improve safety in schools without disrupting the learning experience?
So one of the things that I would love to do is to right now in our city. So the city of Hinesville is the largest city in our county, and we have a shortage of police officers. So legislation funding would bring about bringing on more of our safety officers, and we can put those safety officers in school and making sure that every child is safe. We have had an unlimited amount of incidents at our schools, and we shouldn't have had those because this is a very small county, but the noise is getting here in a very big way. The crime is getting here, the incidents are getting here. And just recently we had a shooting amongst teenagers, and it was like 4 people that were shot. So we were like, and these are all teenagers. So we need the resources to bring more resources, safe resources, to protect our children, protect our teachers, and to protect the school system as a whole within our community.
All right. Okay. Now you've called for fully funded classrooms. What specific areas in your district schools do you believe are currently underfunded? Now you just said that you feel like there may be enough money, but if that's the case, everybody would be doing well in Georgia. So as Georgia as a whole, where do you find the lacking?
Okay, so the lacking is teachers having to go into their pockets to try to bring purchase materials for their schools, for their children. So every winter, I would give like a winter back to school drive, because after January, when kids go back to school, they have depleted what they started with in August. So in January, there's a new need. If the school system was able to help assist with this in some way, we wouldn't have to have our teachers going into their pockets trying to make up for what the school should be supplying. But we don't have that. So, and it also places a hardship on parents when they're, constantly trying to make ends meet, and then they have to go back and they don't, we see this all the time. They're literally going from school drive to try to get enough material to last their child throughout the year, because it's so expensive. But if the school could help make up the difference, a lot can change. But the main thing is that teachers are having to go into their purse, into their wallets, and they're having to supplement their students' material needs with their own monies, and that should not be the case.
Agreed. I'm going to remind you all out there, if you have any questions for Miss Sabrina, please put them in the chat and I will ask them to her. Yes, we have, and this is why I'm running for Liberty County School Board. Oh, okay, Batty with a needle. Yes. All right, y'all, change Georgia now. You can put the questions in there, or you can hit that the guest request and come on up and ask your question. Now we're going to go into my first rapid fire. Okay. Like I said, this is just quick answers. You can elaborate on some a little if you like, but this should be quick answers. All right. So starting off, which would you prioritize? Transparency or efficiency?
Transparency.
Okay. Teachers' pay or student resources?
Those are kind of hand in hand. Teachers are a resource for the
Teachers
students.
are a resource, but you only got 5 million. Where we putting it?
Oh,
I know.
it's so tough. I'll split it. Can I split it?
Sure, we're gonna split it between the two.
Okay. Yeah, can we split it? And I would give
But
3
teachers
million.
say they need all that 5 million now. The teachers say we
Look,
need it.
look, work with me. Work with me.
All right.
With the 5 million, I would have to divvy it up, because I know we need the teachers, but I also know that the students need their resources. And one of the biggest thing, I know this is rapid fire, but I must say this: I want to get our kids into agriculture. I mean, literally growing their own foods in an organic way. So that's not a program that we have at our school, and that's something I want to implement.
That sounds like a great idea. Now, roads and highway infrastructure or public transportation?
Highway infrastructure.
Okay. Lowering housing costs or securing jobs?
Well, if they have, what kind of jobs? Good job, like
Yes,
jobs that pay $20
jobs that
an
pay,
hour.
like yes, that do it's gonna make a difference.
Okay, jobs. Then I'll
Okay.
go with jobs.
And I agree because if you got good jobs out there, we could pay for whatever is
Exactly.
charging. But that's also the goal. And the reason why I do this is because I know, we go into it with we want to do everything, but you literally only got 2 years. You got
Right.
2 years, and you can just it's not going to be able to fit everything. What they say, 5 pounds of poop in 10 pounds of poop in a 5 pound bag. I'm just saying. Raising minimum wage or taxing the rich?
Raising minimum wage.
Okay. You're given a bill. And in this bill, each district gets 10 million for their school system.
Mhm.
However, also in this bill is a proposal to put the 10 commandments displayed in the schools. Are you a yay or nay on that bill?
So the bill is given, the money is only given to me on the condition that we are putting the 10 commandments in the school.
They're in the same bill that you have to vote yay or nay on.
Okay, this is where you really have to take the hard right,
Yeah.
right? We would need the money, but me being the negotiator, I would say give us 15 million and you got a deal.
Oh, okay. And
Okay.
now every school in Georgia is going to have the 10 commandments displayed somewhere in the school.
But the trick of it is if they place the 10 commandments in the school, other religions can also advocate for having whatever piece of article of religion that they want in the school. So legally you have to if you set a precedent, you set that precedent. And that's one of the things that was brought to my mind when they did it in Louisiana. I'm like, they have I don't think these people know what they're doing. I'm not trying to, just say that they're not looking at the broader picture, but when you set a precedent, you set a precedent. So if you do it for one, you have to do it for other. Otherwise, you have a large lawsuit on your hands.
Absolutely. I often pose that question because this is what they do in government, whether it's state or federal, that they they put something in that they know you need and then add in something that they want, and hopefully you either A, don't see it, or B, think the need is more, and now they still get what they want. So you're going to be faced with those things all the time. I just wanted to see how you would rationalize that.
Yeah.
What's the biggest issue facing your community right now?
The economy.
Okay. One thing you think your community doesn't care enough about?
Voting.
Agreed. And lastly, describe your leadership style in one word.
Transformative.
Okay. I like that word. I love that word. Okay. Again, I'll remind you all, if you have any questions, please request up or put them in the chat. We are going into energy and affordability. Now, you've talked about lowering energy utility costs through home weatherization. That was a hard word for me. What specific programs or investments would you push to make that accessible for families and seniors?
So we are in what we call the hurricane pathway. It always hits the coast. And I'm from Louisiana, so I'm kind of used to it. And our homes are built differently in Louisiana than it is here in Georgia, which is what they also call the Low Country, right? But our homes in Louisiana are built up on like on stilts, so it keeps the water, if there is a flood, from flooding out our area. We don't.
I lived in Baton Rouge for 15 years.
So okay. So we don't have that here, and I'm like thinking, I've always wondered why that is. I don't even think there's been a thought to help to implement any sort of protection from this area, which is a potential flood zone. So I think if we write legislation to help, protect the environment during hurricane season, because we've been hit hard during the last couple of hurricanes. And for Hurricane Helene, I did work with Daniel Blackman, who was the senior director for the EPA, and President Biden, in getting us anything that we needed, because people were literally trying to get their kids to school on boats. So this is how bad the flood was. So working with the federal government and actually writing legislation so we would have funding to be able to protect our community in times like those. That's the main step to protecting the community. That's the only thing that we can do. But we have to have a working relationship with the federal government, our federal representatives. One of the things that I find so problematic is the fact that people tend to want to play partisan politics regardless of what seat that they hold. We can't afford to do that. I mean, we just can't. When people need help as an elected official, do you decide who you help, or do you help the constituents? We have to look at it that way. And maybe I'm just a modern day mom, grandma, and I just think that this is how the government should work. But yeah, we got to do things. We have to be proactive versus reactive, and we've been reactive for too long.
I agree. I 100% agree. I'm really surprised that y'all don't have that with, South Carolina being right there. And I know the houses on the stilts is everywhere in Myrtle Beach. So to hear that that doesn't extend down to Savannah is really crazy to me.
We have been flooded out several times. I mean, and it's been bad. It has been bad. Thank God we've had few lives lost, but we have still been hit hard. And at the end of the day, sometimes the insurance companies do not want to assist. So we have to be very active in making sure that in the time that we are in now economically, that we don't lose much more than what we already have.
Right. So, like I said, we're talking about the weatherization, act that you're planning on presenting, lowering, the energy bills. How will you ensure that lower income households and seniors actually benefit from the energy efficient programs and aren't left out? And that's like a big thing with government is they pass all of these bills, but don't nobody hear nothing about them. So the money just sits there. How do we make sure the people who need it gets it?
Well, one of the things I will say this, the reason we don't hear about it is because it tends to be this way. The people who we've elected to help get us those funds have a cluster of friends, right? And they put these friends in certain places. And so the money is very circular. You may not know that the money exists, but it exists. It's just going from hand to hand in that little circle. Well, I would like to start a focus group that focuses strictly, solely, and totally on the environmental protection in our community. And that means that they will talk with the EMA, they will work with the EMA, they will work with the city council, they will work with the county commissioners, and they would then report to me back their findings. Now, I will make sure that the monies will have to go to the entities that they are supposed to go, but in regards to having someone to answer to, we don't have that level of accountability. So once we have a group that is going in and asking the real questions that I would probably be prompting, then we will know where all the money is being spent, and then I will know what I will need to do from my level of government. But yeah, that's the only way that we can do it. You have to have eyes on the ground, and you have to have people that you can count on, that that's going to tell you the 100% truth. Now, I'm not saying that all of our elected officials are corrupt or anything like that. But what I am saying is I do believe when you give the people the responsibility to take care of their own community, they do it, and they do it well.
I 100% agree, which actually goes into our audience question here. I think that probably would be one of the differences. She asked first she said she liked your glasses, but she also says that what differentiates you from Al Williams in terms of policy?
Well, I have been helping write policy for a very long time for some of our elected officials that are already at the state level. And I've also worked with our senior senators on certain issues within our community. And I've been doing this all within the last 10 years. What differentiates me is just last week, I wrote two bills which would make me ready to go on day one for property tax, the other was for the agricultural plan that I would like to introduce to our schools. So what makes me different is, as I said, within the last, from 2015 to 2025, our current state representative had not written a policy that would help us in a impactful way. Only thing that was written was a ceremonial, proclamation for his pastor, and I think that alone separates me.
I hear that. Also, like, out with the old, in with the new. Like, Georgia, has he been working for you? Like, are you better off since what I said? Since he been in there. He been in there since 2003. That's
Yes.
13 years, right? 23 years. 23 years.
23 years. And here's the thing.
3 years.
I want to give State Representative Williams his props. You know, we because I stand on his shoulders. If I am to win this election, I would be the first woman, the first African American woman to win or to have run and won the seat.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
the first woman, period,
In that district.
in this district
Uh-huh.
to what ran and won the seat. So here's the thing that I would have to say to him. Because I would be standing on his shoulders. Thank you for all that you've done up until this point. But now feel comfortable enough to release the helm and let me move it from here. You know, I am certain he would be just a fingertip away if I am to need support or help. But
is he running again?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, and that's one of the things I was about to say. I think at some point we have to feel comfortable enough to let the next generation lead where it needs to go. None of us are going to be here forever. And when it's time for me to leave office, because I do believe in term limits, I want the next generation to follow behind me and they will automatically know where they want to go. I don't need to gatekeep. I don't need to dictate. They do not need to ask my permission. If they need my help, I am there, but I trust them.
Absolutely. Does Georgia give a pension, so to speak, to their public officials? So, like, if he decides to retire this year, he would still get paid?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. They do. I do believe after you've served 5 terms, which is 10 years, I think you automatically get the pension.
Okay. Oh, you have to do 5. That makes sense. You're right. Don't you come in there for 2 years and then think you get to walk off in the sunset without tax dollars? No.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and it may be less than that, but I do know that they get a pension, and you don't have to serve like a robust amount of time. You get the pension.
Okay. Oh yeah, look, yeah. She said that's what I was wondering. Maybe it's for money. That's why I asked. I'm like, maybe if they get a pension, then no, I don't. Sometimes people just get comfortable.
Yeah.
And we had a candidate on the other day that said their incumbent has been there 20 plus years too, and they said that is not his seat.
Yes, that's the thing. That is I've lectured that for such a long time. The seat belonged to the people. Anyone is welcome to run, but please understand when someone else decides to run, do not get them up. Don't get people all riled up. And because after all, we're still a community. We got to live with each other. We got to see each other. We're probably going to church with each other. But don't get people all riled up where there's such a discourse that, we're combative and names are being hurled and there's insults and rumors and all the things. We don't need that. We just need to understand that they have a right to run for the seat.
Yeah.
And if they're able to qualify, then they are qualified by the standards that are set by whatever governmental entity that they are running for. So that's the main thing. I think we forget that. I really do think we get lost in that jargon. But yeah, they have a right.
Absolutely. All right. So our next topic, we're going to talk about safety and criminal justice. Okay. Now you said we can't just arrest our way out of crime. What specific smart legislation do you believe would actually reduce violent crime in your community? Now, I just want to remind you, TikTok is funny about certain words. GUN, they do not like that word, so we have to say pew pew or weapons or something assault, something else. They don't like DEI or DEATH. Anything around that, we like to say unalive. I'm sure you've heard that quite a few places, but we like to say unalive in any form of that. And the smugs. You can't say the actual names of them. You have to say, substances or medication, whatever the word is. So, like I said, unfortunately,
I understand. I
okay.
understand.
So just to reiterate the question, how do you reduce violent crime in your community?
Opportunity.
Okay.
One of the main reasons that we have the things that I can't say that you just spelled is because there is a lack of opportunity for our young people, and they're busy. They want to get into something, and unfortunately, oftentimes they get into the wrong thing. So if there are opportunity, then these children we wouldn't be having as much of a dialogue about this, but we would be having some. I would rather have some than continuous conversation. We didn't have this conversation like this about 10 years ago. We didn't. Our community was very safe. It was, you could walk down the street at night, but now folks are like looking out the backyard. I can tell you what just happened to me the other night. My husband and I was getting ready to go to bed, and I went to the kitchen to get some water, and my refrigerator, the ice drops and it dropped like this. I broke out like I had the chicken pox because I thought someone was knocking at the window. So at the end of the day, that had me all up in arms because we had just had the incident. But we should not be that way in our own homes, because I know overall my neighborhood is safe. I know that. I understand that. And I truly believe that. But we have nothing here for our children. Nothing. We have no sort of, in St. Simon's Island, which is about another 45 minutes away from us going west. It has an aviation program where the kids can come once a year and participate in Aviation Day, where all these aviation crafters come in, they land, they can get on the plane, they can see and experience, simulation, flight simulation. And if they are at the age of 18 and getting ready to graduate, some of these manufacturers will allow them to test to see if they pass and give them a job that at that time, which was in 2016, was making like $20 an hour. We don't have that opportunity. So what is driving kids today? The same thing that drives us: money. They want money. They want to be able to take care of themselves. They want to feel good. They want to feel empowered. And sometimes that feeling empowered means to cause harm. We don't want that. So if we are to create these and craft these opportunities, and going back to what I was saying about these medical cannabis dispensaries, just let's say we got little Tommy on the street, and little Tommy on the street was doing something he wasn't supposed to do, right? Well, what if little Tommy got an opportunity to work into a medical cannabis dispensary and learn how to do it the right way? Understanding how we can impact a life by the simplest things, but we're not thinking that way because folks think that you'd be surprised at how many times I've had to explain to people what medical cannabis dispensary is. What a medical cannabis, I'm like, you cannot just go in and get it illegally. You have to have a prescription. Don't be afraid of this. This is not something that you have to worry about. But at the end of the day, it's just basically changing mindsets on what real opportunity and chances look like. And it doesn't look like what it used to.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing, people have the misconception that, them little Timmy and them out there, wanting to, make the community sick. It's not
Right.
about what they're pushing. It's about the money that's coming from it. So if we just teach them
Absolutely.
how to get money, they won't need to do that to get the money.
Right. And some of these kids are super intelligent. And I know because sometimes school is not fulfilling. So some of them want to sing, some of them want to perform. Also give them the ability to get into a class that helps them craft their talent. We don't have that either. As if that's not a gift that can be turned into money. We don't have what the children need at the current time to make it in this day and age. And I'm not understanding why. When I was growing up, I remember the Fame TV show. I don't know if you remember that. I
Yes,
loved it.
I
But
love fame.
yes, I love Fame. And I was like, being able to give children an opportunity to tap into their natural gifts is something that is absolutely amazing, but we don't have it. And I don't understand why. But can we get it? I'm certain we could through legislative acts. But, hey, it takes a new mindset to make that happen.
Absolutely. Now you just kind of sort of mentioned, giving local leaders more tools. So what resources and changes do you think law enforcement and community leaders are currently missing?
I think they're trying. Let me tell you, I really do believe that they're trying, but I think I think they're restricted. Because you still want to have the persona that I'm the law. So people still have that mindset that you're the law, and they don't feel comfortable. But in Liberty County, especially the city of Hinesville, we have a community. We have a program where the community can come in and they can take a class and working with the police officers and getting to know them. I think that's wonderful. It's a civilian program, and I think it's wonderful. But I think it's enough? No, I don't think it's enough. I think there could be a program that allows children who are interested in law enforcement to start kind of like following law enforcement by the age of 11 and 12 and getting to know, and maybe go from, if they're not interested in going to college, they can go from high school to recruitment. That's a passageway, but we're not thinking like this, and I'm not really certain why we're not. I'm willing to think into every opportunity that I possibly can to make a way or make a positive future for our children. But I think right now they're just not looking at the full impact. What used to work doesn't work now. And I always say, oh, keys don't open new doors, but we can always make a new door. We can always make a new door.
We can always make a new door.
Mhm.
Now, there's always, for the longest time, been conversation about we need to get crime down. We need to get crime down. However, the lower crime is, the less people in my hostess decide he is gonna make him a debut today. The more we get crime down, the less bodies in the prisons. Okay,
Right.
so if the prisons plan on staying open, staying full, staying profitable, crime cannot go down.
Right.
So, do you feel like how do we bankrupt these prisons by making sure recidivism is lower? That like what policies can you actually implement to keep people from going back?
So one of the things is, if we can have a school to prison pipeline, why can't we have a school to parapro pipeline, school to become a cop pipeline, a school to become, whatever there is within our controls? Why can't we create those pipelines? I think that's something that we have to offset, because we're not going to be able to eliminate crime. That's the unfortunate thing. We're not going to be able to eliminate crime as a whole, but we can create new opportunities that lessens the crime. And with that, that gives people a new that sort of recedes the number. Every time that goes off, I'm like thinking, what is that?
It's just gifts. It's just gifts.
Okay. So I think we can kind of like lessen the number of people that are going into prisons. Again, going back to the cannabis industry, agricultural program teaches our children how to grow and how to make a living. We don't have that. So are the right things being taught? I mean, yes, it starts in the home, but it can help grow in the school system, and then it can finalize at graduation and into adulthood. So we have to be able to again think outside of the box and create opportunities like they've never been created before.
Right. And that's why I asked earlier about, which would you prioritize, teacher pay or student resources? Because, we have we know everyone can't go to college. But what has happened over the last, few decades is that the other options have also disappeared. There was a time where you had more people in trade schools than you had in college, because everyone knew, I could at least go over here and learn how to build something, light something up, unstop something, whatever. But we have seen a decrease in people going into those industries, or at least the resources being there for it. Any plans to add these types of schooling to your district?
Love to. I mean, we have a career center here, but I would love to. One of the biggest things, the city of Hinesville is the largest city in Liberty County. The rest of our municipalities are rural. So the city of Hinesville is it's a metropolitan area pretty much. We're a rural metropolitan area, but we are much bigger than the other outlying cities. However, we have little potentials of giving, like creating new, let's just say, like the land, because we have the three big R's, the restaurants, the religion, and then you have real estate. So right now what's being built up the most is real estate. But I do believe if we could work with some of these landowners who are willing to donate land to school system to teach children, these children who are choosing not, because like you said, everybody's not going to college, but to give these children a chance at agriculture. Agriculture is huge here in Georgia, and there's a lot of grants for that, a lot of funding for that. So I think while everyone's thinking about, your traditional sort of business ownership from, cosmetology, barbers, those teaching, all the things there, we have a huge landscape for agriculture.
Yeah.
And again, not only can we create, medical cannabis dispensaries, but at some point somebody is going to say, hey, I want to grow hemp, because the hemp industry is huge. We have to be able to be prepared for that. We just have to be prepared for that. So I am prepared to implement legislation for Liberty County to help our children prevail. I think when you give people an opportunity to change their narrative and they love what they're doing, everything just works out, not just for them, but for their families, because this is how you break generational curses and you create generational wealth.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Again, I just want to remind everyone, excuse me, that you can request up or put your questions in the chat, and I would definitely pose the questions to Miss Sabrina. Y'all, this is a brilliant woman here. Get your questions in. Ask her the tough questions, okay? Ask the tough questions. We got to help the people of coastal Georgia, not Louisiana. Coastal Georgia know that this is the right person to represent them. As someone who is not your constituent, I would love to hear how you plan to handle pressure from the Trump administration.
That's a very good question, but I'm running for state office, so pretty much the Trump administration is not interested in me.
Oh, yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. Did you not hear him call up Georgia and say, hey, I need 11,000 more votes? Baby, he gonna come
Well,
for
I
y'all
can tell
too.
you this. I can tell you the reason why he's not interested in this district is because we've been here for so long and it's a Democratic stronghold. So this district, he wants to go where it's competitive. And I will tell you something, if you do a little digging in the past, you might find my name linked in with the Trump administration from his 2016 election. With that, all the things that he was looking at with those votes. So I don't think right now. I think if I aspired for higher seat, especially something that a seat that he was interested in, and from what I gather, he's not even interested in our congressional district, which is congressional district 1. But I think if I was someone who was on the level of attacking him, or just speaking out just on federal things, I think he would take a bigger, broader interest in me. But one of the things that I like to do, because our constituency is so confused on what's municipal, what's county, what's state, and what's federal, I like to stay at the state level, so they're not confused and think that I can do something at the state level that can only be done at the federal level. So at the moment, yeah, I'm not thinking, and now as I move into this administration, as I gain the seat, if I am to win the seat, and if I'm doing a lot of phenomenal things, then yeah, they probably gonna look at me. But right now, yeah, I'm good.
And I see you are. I see you a firecracker. You is not gonna stay off that break. Somebody tried to call me. Look, Trump said, don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. I already see you're not gonna stay off that radar long. Okay, so now we're gonna go into my second rapid fire. This is a fun one that I love to do. It just gets to know you a little better, pick your brain a little bit. All right. So we're gonna start with gold or silver.
Silver.
Okay. Bagels or toast?
Toast.
Anything on top?
Butter. Just butter.
Just butter. I need some jelly on that thing. Okay. A potted plant or a bouquet of flowers?
Potted plant for certain.
All right. White bread or wheat bread?
Ooh, wheat.
Wheat.
Yeah.
Are you glamping or camping?
Definitely glamping.
All right. Now I'm about to test your old school. Okay. Goody Mob
Okay.
or Outcast?
Outcast.
All right. T.I. or Ludacris?
Ooh. Ooh. I'm going to have to say bring them out, T.I.
Okay, bring them out. Bring them out. Bulldogs or Yellow Jackets?
I'm not a sports girl.
I know, but you gotta pick one.
Okay. Well, I would say bulldog. I would say
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
that.
Also not a sports fan, but are we cheering on Falcons or Hawks in your household? With your husband, like football,
Probably
basketball?
Falcons. Probably Falcons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Hawks is the basketball. So
Yeah.
we probably the Falcons. Okay.
Yeah. Probably Falcons.
And what's your favorite place in Georgia? Especially not being from there. What's your favorite place in Georgia?
On the water.
So on the coast, Savannah.
Yes.
It's so crazy because when you think of the water states, you think of Florida, California, maybe even Maine, but you don't think of Georgia. But y'all are on the coast,
Yes.
and people don't think about it at all.
At all. Yeah, I love it.
Movies or TV?
I'm very introverted. So I love staying home anytime that I get a chance. When it's just me time, yeah, I like to stay at home, watch a movie, a good
So
movie.
would you rather the movie or the book?
Ooh. Well, I like to watch it with my husband, so probably the movie.
All right, all right. Well, we are about to go into our last topic, guys. So again, if you have any questions, please request up or put them in the chat. Now, Divine McMullen, she may have came in a little late, so I'll let you reiterate. But her question was, how will you create better paying jobs so young people don't feel like they have to leave?
Right. That's a huge lift here for Liberty County because again, we have no industry. One of the things that we have to do is again, we have to be able to entice industry to come here. And there's got to be some sort of quid pro quo in order to get them here. You know, some want to come and they don't want to pay taxes. Well, that hurts us because who eats the taxes? We do. But we have to be able to make sure that our citizens are benefiting from what they're offering. So that means that you can't just come here as an industry and want to set up and hire our folks for the setup, and then you bring in automation a year after, and all the jobs are lost. So that's got to be something that is done carefully and very strategically. But we definitely need industries. One of the things that I'm greatly opposed to for our county is casinos. Now, I am not against gaming. Let's be clear. I'm not against gaming. I just know that gaming does not fit here because I come from a state where gaming is our industry, which is Louisiana, and it's one of our industries. But at the end of the day, I know what they do to small towns. So I would support a casino going to Savannah, to one of the islands, to even Atlanta, but not to Liberty County, because the truth of the matter is they don't bring in good jobs. They give the locals the very medial jobs, and then they take the culture, they take whatever you have to offer. They drive small businesses out of business, and they absorb all of the economic impact that they say that they will create for the community. So yeah, we have to be very careful as to what type of industry that we bring here.
Absolutely. Now, the last topic which we haven't touched yet, is healthcare. So, that besides the high cost of living, groceries, the next thing people are upset about is their health care. Lack thereof, insurance high, prescription medicines high. It's just a disaster right now. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody is decided to come talk to us. One of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Miss Ayana.
Oh my gosh, what an introduction, ButterMel.
I'm just trying to get some money from her. Don't tell me.
You know what, ButterMel? I came up here trying to be nice.
I know.
Hit you with that fire, ButterMel. Anyway.
All right. So what's your question?
My question, because your district has a lot of military presence, military infrastructure.
Yes.
So I'm assuming the military is actually a big employer in your district too. Is that the case?
That is.
So you have a lot of public sector employment. So you would probably want to be working towards protecting that particular part of your district. So what challenges do you see at the federal level that could impact the presence of the military in your district? Like, do you see things being cut back? Do you see a WAR as being impactful or helping, or do you see any kind of cuts coming from the big beautiful bill that might affect your district? What are you seeing?
So Liberty County is the front door of Fort Stewart, and Fort Stewart is literally the back door. It used to be a part of our district, but it is no longer. It is a part of Bryan County, which is not a part of District 168. if a WAR was a start, it would be detrimental for our county because as a military spouse of over 20 plus years, I understand what those type of things do with the community. And I understand that it does not drive an economic impact. It drives economics down. A lot of the stores tend to close because a lot of the spouses do not stay here. They go home. So that does not help. The main thing I think right now that's the focus of Fort Stewart, and I do believe our Senator Ossoff and Warnock is heavily on this, is the fact that housing, we getting better housing, making sure that soldiers are taken care of while they are occupying federal housing and that they are in good livable conditions. Other than that, I do know that Fort Stewart is going through some transformation in regards to infrastructure. So it tends to, it's very odd, though and I am 100% against a war, or I'm sorry, WAR. I'm still learning TikTok language. So I'm 100% against that. We have a thing called Memorial Walk on Fort Stewart, and it's got to be nearly over 100 trees. And most of those trees are dedicated to young men and women that are 20 years, under 25 years of age. That's just ridiculous. I mean, none of our children should have to take on the responsibility of what these grown people or very grown people are causing. And they will never have to put on boots or a uniform to go and face these actions that they have created. And they're at the sunset of their lives while these young people are just beginning. So don't get me started on that. That gets me all in the
I understand. I
it's
understand.
like, oh, but
I
yeah,
understand.
I think right now, the only thing that our folks are pretty much focused on is the fact that we keep our soldiers well taken care of and keep them whole and healthy, and in return, they keep us whole and healthy.
Okay. I like that. I like that response. May I be allowed one more question, please?
If you ask nicely. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, go ahead, please.
Okay. You and I don't know if ButterMel is going to launch into this, probably, maybe, but what infrastructure do you think is needed to bring the much needed jobs to your district that you said a few moments ago you all don't have? Because you gotta build things to bring things, right?
Right.
If you
Correct.
build it, they will come.
Yeah.
They will come. So a lot of our county is still living having septic tanks.
Oh.
Yeah. So recently, I just worked. Well, recently, within the last 2.5 years, I worked with our senators in bringing infrastructural dollars into Liberty County to help with the piping and the water system. We were able to bring in, I think, a little bit over 8.9 million, and also worked with the city of Hinesville in bringing in more infrastructural funding and to help with their needs. So once we get the infrastructure down, and then of course roads, because we definitely need that because of the expansion. I think that we will be able to accommodate a lot more, and then we can bring in some real industry. But until we are up to snuff the way they are building our neighboring county, which is Bryan County, I mean, they've done a lot of highways, and it's just beautiful. The back door, which is 95, is just set up so wonderfully. If we can do the same thing here in Liberty County. I think the reason that it hasn't been done in Liberty County is because we didn't have forward thinkers. They were always thinking on, I think, I hate to say this, but this is going to come out kind of brash, but I don't mean it to be. I think they were always thinking of the now versus the future.
Okay. Yeah.
The future. And I'm always thinking of what we can do 10 days from now, 20 days from now, because you can project how things are moving by just looking at your neighbors. Even if it's not next door, it may be 2 counties over. It's going to hit you eventually.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
while you're not thinking along these lines, is kind of beyond me. But we have to be prepared. We just have to be prepared, and maybe that's also coming from the viewpoint of me working for the DoD for such a long time, and we are to be proactive versus reactive. But I think that's where we've been stagnant for a very long time. And I think the only way we can move forward is by being proactive. And we have been so far. We're getting the monies and the infrastructure that we need. And I'm just happy to have been a part of that.
And you know what? If you don't mind, I would say emphasize that in your campaign. Really
Yeah.
drive that point home, that the infrastructure money that you've helped bring in is what's going to be necessary and needed to bring jobs to your district. Like, people really need to understand that you can't have jobs if there's nowhere to put a job,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
So,
And you're absolutely right. That's one of the main talking points that I have. And I lean on the fact that I've been very resourceful during the time of the hurricanes. Was another thing that I was able to do. I was able to feed 150,000 people, assistant feeding 150,000 people with getting them emergency SNAP, because we did
oh
not have
wow.
a way to go because people were traveling in boats, but
Yeah.
150,000 people were fed from within our district. And I'm just happy to have been a part of that as well.
Okay, well, talk it up, ma'am. I appreciate you
She did
answering my
some things,
questions.
girl. She done did some things.
All right, drop me down, ButterMel.
Thank you.
Bye, Ayana.
Yeah, it's such a catch-22 because, the districts are funded based on population, right? And if you have a small population already, you will get less funds. But you need more funds to make a bigger population.
Right.
It's that catch-22.
Right, exactly. And we've, when Fort Stewart was a part of Liberty County, just what you say, that's. But what happened? I don't know. So now that it's not a part of the District of Liberty County, it's still our back door. So I don't know if the proper negotiations are not taking place. I'm not really sure what's happening, but I just know that there has to be a change because we need those dollars. We need those dollars to make sense for us. And right now it's not doing it. And I think at the moment, what's happening is they're throwing anything against the wall to see if it sticks. Yeah, we're going to eat it because we need it. But at the same time, this should have been done years ago.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, we are about healthcare, right? Now, Georgia has been in the news about reproductive care.
Correct.
And, where your state seems to stand on the issue, which is also another TikTok word they don't like. So we say AB around here. But the heartbeat bill, is that some law that can be reversed? Do you plan on going in there with the efforts to reverse it? And how likely is it that can happen?
So I will say this: I'm a big proponent of women's rights and women having body autonomy, and I just don't like to be told what to do. Period.
Me neither.
I think I'm no different from any other woman. I just imagine you coming into your house, your own house, and someone comes over the intercom in your home and say, you can't sit there. This is your house. You bought it. You own it. And they don't pay any bills there, but that's what they're telling you. So I'm like thinking, okay, this is the same thing with what's going on with reproductive justice. We have a huge lack of it, and maternal death rate is still astronomical.
Yeah.
Black women and brown women are dying at an astronomical rate here in Georgia. Here in Liberty County, we have one hospital, and we need it to be bigger. We need it to be more advanced because otherwise we have to travel 45 minutes either going to Savannah or Jacksonville. which is 2 hours away, to go to a bigger hospital to get the needs that our needs met in case of crises. So yeah, there's a lot of things that's going on, and I'm just kind of wondering why again. Why are we being reactive in 2026? Why? Just why? And this is something that has been documented over and over and over and over. So if we're reading it, what have they been reading? What have they been reading? Or did they just not care? But I think this is what happens when we get in the position of we're electing people who are our friends, church members, cousins, brother-in-laws, that type of stuff, instead of folks that are really going to go in and fight the good fight for us. People tend to do the right things over time, regardless of what they are facing as opposition, whether they're outranked as the Democrats in the state house. You're going to fight, you're going to communicate, you're going to be able to work across party lines, because you have to especially if you're outnumbered. So I'm just kind of curious is what has been taking place over the last 10 to 20 years that this has not been done, and this logic just did not fall down on their shoulders and into their heads and say, okay, let's work this way versus that way. We can save a lot of people's lives. We can, help a lot of these people understand that we shouldn't be telling people what to do with their bodies and stuff like that. I cannot imagine when I was a girl, I knew a young woman who had gotten pregnant by her father. And the first time the hospital helped her, the second time, third time, fourth time. So yeah, these stories I carry with me. I will continuously carry with me, because these are stories that people need to. I will never understand forcing someone to keep something that is so crazy and so hurtful and so harmful to them psychologically and mentally, just because you think you have the right to tell me what to do in my own house.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm like, forcing a unalived woman to carry a baby is criminal. Hold on, give me
Yeah.
1 second. They were gonna keep calling. So I just like, let me text them back, tell them, look, I'll call you in 5 minutes, okay? But that had to be criminal. The fact that it was supposedly criminal that, if the baby didn't go all the way through, because mind you, she was at a stage where the baby was not viable when she unalived, right?
Right.
But because a heartbeat was there, you had to save the baby, but you did less work to save the woman.
Yes.
In the first place.
At that point, I see that they used her, and sadly, as a guinea pig. That was a statement that they wanted to use her for. They wanted a reaction, not only from Black women, but from women as a whole. They wanted to show us that they will do whatever it takes to make us understand that they're in control. I think a lot of things. But the thing is it right? No, it's not right. And we have to be able to push back on it and work against these type of, because this is horrific. This is not Dr. Frankenstein. They're not Dr. Frankenstein. Right. That's exactly what that reminds me of. You wanted to see what it was going to look like at the end of the day, and that you didn't care what kind of harm it caused the family, the child. None of it. You just didn't want it. So this is what we, and I don't want to say this is what we've been deduced to as monsters, but this is what we've been deduced to as monsters. So yeah, we just got to be ready to bring our holy water, crucifix, garlic, and fight it.
Right. Now you said that your district has one hospital, correct? Is that supplying the needs of the people?
Let's just say it does the job.
Okay. Do we need more urgent cares? You know,
I think what we need is because here we only have, I think, one or two OBGYNs. When there are people
more
like for my
specialty care.
OBGYN, yeah, I have to go to another county for because I mean, she's excellent, and there we only have, I think, one woman that does, if that, OB/GYN care. So I'm like thinking, I prefer to be seen by a doctor who's a woman, but we don't have that choice here, so we have to take what we can get. And my doctor before my OB/GYN, he was also in another county, and the day that it was time for me to go in to get my annual, he retired.
Oh, wow.
So we had to quickly, it took about a half of a year for me to find a OBGYN, but I found the one that I absolutely adore and love her. But yeah, we are lacking in caregivers, and we need to be able to bring more because most of the caregivers that are at our hospital are contracted.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's why you're going there to answer these questions, to make the changes necessary so that your district thrives and Georgia as a whole thrives, right?
Right.
So my first closing question to you is, how important is it that a representative, senator, whatever, for the state is fully informed about their district, their state, to go and do a good job? Or is it a hands-on effort?
Well, you have to definitely be integrated into the community and you have to know the community. I've been working with the community since 2009. I'm not afraid. If one thing about me is I'm not afraid to go to people who I don't know, introduce myself, and have a conversation. That's one of the things that I don't think that when you're an elected official, you don't get some sort of cool kids badge and you don't go out and talk to the people. So I'm not that way. I think you have to be very hands on. I think you have to come down from the mountaintop and you have to be engaged. I think you also have to keep your constituents informed. I think you have to be able to have a conversation. I think you have to also not tell them what they need to vote for, but you have to be able to effectively explain to them what these referendums, these policies, these laws are going to do to them. Give them the pros and cons of it. I believe that they should be so aware from your position of what's going on and what's taking place and what they can, what they can change and what they can engage and what they can impact for their own community, that they can trust you to lead them for another term. But when you lose that, you don't get a chance to say, give me another 2 years at doing nothing for you. So you have to be engaged. You have to have hands-on, and a lot of people may disagree with me, but I really do believe that you have to have an understanding of a governance and law and policy. You can't write law and policy if you don't understand it. You just can't. So I'm like, I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, I can explain. I was on a call. So these last two referendums that came down in 2024, I was on a call because nobody knew what these referendums was talking about. And on the call, it was the people who actually wrote the referendums. And they said there was city managers, county managers, administration, elected officials on there. And they were asking them, what does this mean? And one of the attorneys told them flat out, they said, it wasn't meant for you to understand. This is legalese, and this is only written for an attorney to understand. And I was like, of course. So at the end of the day, when you have people who are just basically being told by people to, oh yeah, this is good, they're going to take that back to their constituents and say, yeah, this is good. And this is how we got these property issues right today.
Now, and that's what like I said, because I just think a lot of people say, oh, I want to make a change. I want to go out there, and in their heart, their intention is well, that they want to go in there and be a voice for the people. But like you said, they come with no knowledge of what law really works, what they even are supposed to be doing in there. So that's how that. So
Absolutely.
last question.
Yes,
Before we go, this has been an absolute pleasure.
likewise.
What does success look like for District 168 4 years from now if you're elected?
4 years from now,
4 years from now.
okay. So industry, it looks like industry. It looks like a thriving economic boom from our medicinal cannabis. It also looks like a thriving economic boom from agriculture, to include possibly a hemp agricultural program. It looks like there's a lot of different businesses that are being able to sustain themselves. These are mom and pops. It looks like our children are no longer saying, I need to go to Atlanta. It looks like we have school teachers that are being paid well, so our children are learning well. And it looks like I would probably be at the end of my term because I believe in term limits.
Excellent answer. No, excellent answer. Don't forget, people houses are no longer flooding too. Don't forget that.
People are, yeah, definitely. We are environmentally protected.
Exactly. Again, thank you so much for coming to talk with us today, Miss Sabrina. It is truly a pleasure. I say all the time, I wish I could vote for everybody, regardless of where they at. Like somebody need to put that through a federal level, that you could just vote for anyone you want. Just put them in there.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. So remind the people of how they can support you, donate to you, find you on all the medias. Just let everyone know how they can support Sabrina Newby.
I'm Sabrina Newby, guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You can go to my website, newbyforgeorgia.com, learn more about me, learn more about my platform. You can also follow me on Instagram at the Sabrina Newby for Georgia, and I'm on Facebook for Sabrina Newby for Georgia, and on TikTok for Sabrina Newby for Georgia. So yeah, follow me here, and we will go all the way to the Capitol, I hope.
Absolutely. I want to thank you all for being here with me, and having this wonderful, listening into this wonderful conversation with your next Georgia House District 168 representative. I'm calling it into existence. You know, we do this a lot. You are probably about 130 or so. So we've been going strong since September, and we're going to keep going strong till we make sure we make an impact for these midterms. So our next live coming up at 8 o'clock, which is just in a few minutes, will be with a Matthew Fulmer. Fulmer? I think that's how you say his name. But he's your neighbor. He is running for Congressional District 1 in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. This is your neighbor. So Matthew will be talking with us at 8 o'clock. He's trying to go to the federal. Like I said, you're going to the state, but he is running for South Carolina's Congressional District 1. We'd be so glad to speak with him. Now, what we also do, and it's probably one of my favorite things we do at OVC, is we do our candidate roundtables. And we do those every other Sunday. We have one coming up this Sunday, the 29th. And so look for your invite for that. I would love to have you there. We bring the candidates back where we just kind of chat about, current events, bounce some ideas off each other, make sure everybody's on the same page. So when whether we walk into the state house or the federal house, we are going to be ready and armed. That's exactly. So, like I said, look for that invite to come to the round table on Sunday at 3 o'clock if you're available. Lastly, I just want to tell everyone out there, and possibly if you know anyone, Miss Sabrina, we are looking for more moderators. What is a moderator? I'm a moderator.
Okay.
We are looking for more moderators to do these town halls. Like I said, we are booked up into June. So we need more moderators to help talk to the candidates, ask them the tough questions. I know it looks hard. Trust me, if it's not for my research team, I wouldn't have a question to ask you. So there is someone who has the questions for you, so you don't have to come up with it off the top of your head. But we definitely are looking for moderators right now. So if you would like to do what I'm doing and talk to some awesome people, be a solution in this this problem we have right now in the United States, please DM Our Vote Counts, and we will get someone speaking with you, bring you on into the family. And like I said, you can be a part of the solution. I appreciate you all for coming tonight. Ms. Sabrina, is there anything else you would like to say?
Well, if you guys could please, I'm still trying to build up my coffer. So if you're willing to make a donation, when you go to my website, hit the donation button. $5 would do wonders. So we need to support good candidates, especially Black candidates, because it's a hard time trying to get money to get into the Black coffers. But if you could please donate to good, strong candidates.
Absolutely. Again, thank you all for coming tonight. We will see y'all in just a few minutes. Let me remind you all of who we are. We are Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, like this lady down there, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we are building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So make sure you continue to join us, because your vote is your power. Thank you.